What a mess. Woo-hee. You know what I'm going to do? I'm putting it back in. Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be putting fairing compound on the boat to fill in the holes to get everything nice, smooth and fair. And I already started, did a little bit. So let me show you how I'm doing it. I'm going to be using the West System 410 Microlite fairing filler. I asked everyone what they thought of, and pretty much everybody said one's as good as another. So I already had this stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. I did have some interesting situations earlier. I wasn't sure how to use it. There's not much online telling you about it. But what I found so far is when you mix the resin, you want to put a light coating of resin just to kind of get it tacky before you put this. So when the filler is really thick, it has something to stick to. So that's what we're going to do right now. Is we're going to make some resin with I'm using the West System, so it's going to be a 5-to-1. And we're going to go out there and spread it. I already got some on the boat, but I need to spread more. And then we're going to thicken it and get going with that. Also, you need to make it really thick. I mean, really thick, otherwise it starts to run. I started putting it on, working with it, and it came back and it was all running, so I scraped it all off, put it back in, and made it thicker. I'm talking thick as really thick peanut butter. You know, the ones where the oil rises to the top, and it's more like, dried up wood putty. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this going. I'm going to be doing a 5-to-1, so let's go with the hardener. Let's see, which one? I'm going to use one of these. Yeah. So I'm going to go down to the 1 down the bottom. Oops, okay, so there's the 1. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. I'm actually pouring it right in here. I got to the 1 and 5-to-1, so I'm going to go up to 6 to compensate for it. And that's quite a bit to use just with the fairing compound, but I'm going to be using some of it to pre-treat it. Now what I'm doing, since I'm going to be spreading this all over the boat, let me get a steering stick, hold on. I'm going to be pouring this all over the boat, and I don't want it so thick, again, that it starts running, and I have to, because not every piece of the boat is going to have, most of it's going to have fairing compound, but not all of it. So what I want to make sure I do is not spread it so thick so it's running everywhere. Now I got to start sanding down these thick runs. So what I'm going to do is, the last time I painted it on, this time I'm going to use a squeegee. So let's see, I got that pretty much all stirred and ready to go. So let's take that, let's take my squeegee, let's take you and get on out there. Now this stuff here heats up pretty fast, so you want to get moving with it. I think you can see the boat a little bit. So here we go. I'm scraping it down the sides so it rolls down, so it'll be easier for me to spread it down there as well. There we go. I'm going to probably go most of the side. So let's do most of the side. Let's see. Get myself out for now. Actually, when I did this last time, I actually put it on, and then I came over and wiped it, so it was just a little bit damp. Because if you leave it too thick, it's going to thin out the compound again. We don't want that to happen. Another good thing is if I don't get the whole boat done, up to here at least it's thin enough, that's not going to hurt anything. Look, I get those nice holes right here. Because I want this to be on here for it to stick to, and being tacky is still good too, so if I don't get it for an hour, it's still going to be a little tacky. I don't want to get too fussy with this right now because it's getting hot. I need to get some of the 410 in there. You can see what it looks like. Let's see. I'm going to poke holes in it. There. Now we're going to go ahead and mix. I got an awful lot in there. I didn't put my mask on, so I'm trying to keep upwind of it. See how it's getting pretty stiff in there. You know, someone said that if I put it on a board or something, I could mix it easier, so let's go ahead and do that. Here's the board. There we go. And I'm going to try to mix it this way here. Hopefully it'll come out. Because last time I couldn't get most of it out of here because it was so thick. Oops. I can see it's not thick enough yet. Okay, let's get some more of this stuff in here. Woohoo! I think this was a mistake. I know you're saying you should have a bigger board, but I've been doing some major cleanup and I threw all my big ones away, and I'm not going to use a whole sheet of plywood for it. There we go. I feel like the Michelangelo of boating. Maybe I should knead it like dough. But it's thickening up. Okay, I think I got it before it dripped away. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a hole in the middle and put some right in there. Whoa. Probably a lot more than I wanted to put in. Oops, hey there. So you put all the filler in. Actually, it's actually looking like dough now. Oops. I'm dropping it all over the bottom. Yeah, I'm making a mess. Okay, next time we'll do it in the bucket. I made more than a mess than I bargained for. What a mess. Woo-hee. You know what I'm going to do? I'm putting it back in. Okay. This is supposed to be relaxing, folks, and it's pretty stressful right now. And to top it off, it's getting hot. Ah! What a mess. Okay. Well, it was a good idea, but as they say, don't do what I do. Do what I say, and I say you're not supposed to do it this way. But at least it's not going to drip. You can see how that's about the thickness I want it. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that. And you know, I'm going to get a couple new gloves so I can work with it. While I'm getting my gloves on, I like to document what I do because I had to search like crazy to find out a little bit about how to do this. So I'm learning by mistakes, and maybe you can learn by mine. Because you know, if you really do learn by mistakes, you guys are going to learn a hell of a lot on this channel. Usually I cut them out and don't document the real bad bloopers, but I'm going to leave this one in. It'll be fun. Boy, I felt like I was making pizza dough. Boy, these gloves are tough to get on when they're wet. Okay, I wanted to get this on so I could bring the camera back out too. You can see I've been working on the back already. Can you see the back? The transom? I did a lot of it, and you can see it's even running now. That stuff likes to run. Okay, so now I'm going to get a bunch of paper towels and I'm going to wipe down some of this just so I don't have puddles. It's actually starting to harden already. Nice thickness though, actually. Now there were some pretty big holes down here. I don't know if you can see where I am here. There we go. And I'm feathering it over because there's some deep holes here. Feathering it over. Oops. So this way when I come over with the board sander, it won't have any big depressions. Of course, the over there, bigger the this thing, the scraper, the more I'll be able to go over everything. But don't know if that comment made any sense. It did in my head. I want to make sure I get as much of this out as I can before it actually gets hard. It's not causing trouble. This is just going to fill in the weave. Yeah, I didn't wipe enough of it off. You can see how it's already starting to thin out again. There's really not many divots or bumps up to this point. I'm going to come over this with a lot bigger scraper here in a minute. Now there's a seam right here for tape. So what I'm doing is, I sanded most of it down, but I'm feathering it over the seam. So when I take my board sander, it's going to smooth it out. Okay, so you get the general idea of what I'm doing with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go finish it up because it's getting warm. This stuff is getting hot way too fast, and it's hard to go back and forth with this. And I'll show you once I finished. Then I'll have to let it sit for about 24 hours before I can come and sand it. Okay, well, I'm finished for today. I faired pretty much. I started out by doing the transom, faired the whole thing. I faired that side and this side. My last batch that I just did, I made it nice and thick, and problem is it started hardening on me, and I could see, you can see right here, it started to harden as I was getting on. I scraped most of it off, started to harden, but what I'll do is I'm just going to sand that off tomorrow. So yeah, towards the end I was getting tired of it, but most of it is just a weave I wanted to fill in. So what I thought I would do is I'd just fill in the holes along the seams with the compound as I had it, fill in those holes, and I could sand those down. And since I'm just using this for myself, what I thought I would do is if there's no major holes or dents, I'm just going to put a couple coats of paint on it, and that should fill in the weave. Most of the weave I think is going to be okay, because before I started to put the compound on, I actually put an entire coat of the resin filled, to get everything tacky for the compound to stick onto. So, and what I found is that resin pretty much filled in the weave. I had to go back and wipe off a lot of the resin, because what happened is the compound was so thick, but when it went on the resin, you saw it started to get wet again. So it started to break down, so there was too much resin on the boat already. So I need to wipe it down even more before I put the compound. But other than that, it didn't really run. I'd like to say I like how it came out, but I'm not going to know until tomorrow and I start sanding it, or the next day, whenever I do. So that's it for today. In a day or two I'll come back and sand it, and the proof will be in the pudding. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye now.